I worked on Gary Chambers' campaign. I developed about like 60 to 70% of his criminal justice platform.
Okay.
So militarized police, that was me. His on militarized and protest policing, that was me. The smart funding of police, like that's me. So when everybody was talking about defund the police, I was talking about smart fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you describe that real quick?
Basically, instead of defunding the police, start funding the police based upon the areas where you want to see impact with the police.
Okay.
So if you're going to say that police stop crimes, right? They stop burglaries or they do things, there needs to be metrics in place that show how police intervention is good for society.
Got you. Okay.
Right? So if you are, let's say you're in a high crime environment, right? Some of the things I don't want, look, mental health crises. Sometimes I don't need my police there because they don't necessarily have the training, right, or the patience to handle that. Maybe I would want some more mental health professionals. So the budget that when instead of having a police officer or multiple police officers having to go handle that, maybe just one or two police officers handling that, and you provide more services, mental health services, and you empower those people, right? And dealing with law enforcement is always kind of tricky because I'm not the one to say that we don't need police, but I am the one to say that our police needs to be held accountable.
Correct.
And that, you know, if law enforcement is a service, then I want good service, not bad service.
Yeah.
Right. So I ran for U.S. Back to what I was saying about.
It's important though.
Yeah, it is. It is. I ran for U.S. Senate as an independent, but what was funny was that it was Democrats. It was Democrats that I had some of the greatest like friction from. Funny story about Gary. Gary had pledged his support for me in my U.S. Senate campaign because he was one of the first people that I had told that I was running for U.S. Senate. He had pledged his support for me. And he was like, yeah, man, we got to get you in there. Fast forward to, that was like July 2019 kind of time frame. Fast forward when now during its actual campaign season in July, August of 2020, I'm like, hey, Gary, and I'm hemming and hawing. Now all of a sudden I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not getting the phone calls back. Well, the mayor of Shreveport ended up jumping in the race in July of 2020.
And the election would be in
November.
Oh, wow.
The last second, right?
Yeah.
So Gary was trying to broker a meeting between me and the mayor of Shreveport, and I'm like, the mayor's got my number.
Yeah.
I'm one of the most accessible people in Shreveport. If you don't know who Doc Montgomery is, you're sleeping under, at least in Shreveport.
Yeah.
So he brokered a meeting. He drove up from Baton Rouge and sat down, met with the mayor, and he's like trying to get both of us on the same page. And I'm like, they were actually trying to get me to drop out the race.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to be having this conversation with the other Democrats.
Yeah.